Want to speak real French from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at FrenchPod101.com.
Hey guys, my name is Pierre and I'm from France, and welcome to this lesson. Today's lesson will be about what not to pronounce in French. You know, French is really annoying. The way you say it and the way you write it, it's really different. And I'm here to show you that it's not that hard if you know the basics. So first, I would like to introduce you to the common silent letters. First, there is this letter, H. This is maybe the most common one. In French, H has no pronunciation. There is no aspiration, unlike English. When you see H alone, it's always silent in French. For example, in homme, which means man, you don't say the H. Same for haricot, which means beans, or for e, which is the French way to say when you're hesitating. Then there is this combination, CH, and when there is this combination, you have to say it. It's almost never silent. For example, cheval, which means horse, and then échec, which means chess. But of course, in French, there are many exceptions, and those two words are exceptions. Écho, which means echo, like in English, and choral, which means choral, like in English. H is silent here. You have to say just the C, écho, choral. Don't focus too much on those exceptions, because usually it's always never silent, but if you really want some examples, just try to remember those two, because maybe they are the most common ones, but don't focus too much on exceptions again. Then let's move on to the next letter, which is OR. This letter is quite like never silent, but in some cases, like when you see the combination ER in verbs, you have not to say the OR. It's always silent. For example, in the verb manger, which means eat, or parler, to speak, you have not to say the OR. It's always that for the verbs, which are with ER. Then you've got some other words that are using the same rule, like premier. Just try to remember this one. It means first. And here, you don't have to say the OR. Let's move on to the next letter, which is X. This one is really easy. There are 3 patterns that you have to remember, and then after that, you're done. It's really easy. Those patterns are OUA, O, E. You see, I don't say the X. OUA, O, E. It's always silent. Here are some examples. Voice, voix in French, no X. Oiseau, which is the plural for birds, so like many birds. Usually you don't have X, but here it's like a plural, the plural form. And then heureux, which is the adjective for happy. Many adjectives have this terminaison, and you have to say it, and you have not to say X. Let's move on to the next category, which is STPD category. It's almost always silence when it's at the end of a word. To remember that, here is a kind of little trick for you. You can think that French is stupid. And in this word, you see all the letters that are almost always silent. STPD. Stupid. So here is an example. Le petit loup est méchant, which means the little wolf is nasty. So here there is petit, you don't say the T. Loup, you don't say the P. Est, which is kind of an exception. Here you see S and T, and you don't have to say it, just for the verb to be. So just remember that when you see EST, this is a common question, don't say the S and T. But usually when you see the word est, which means east, you have to say it. So this rule is only when you see one letter at the end. When you see more than 2 letters, this is different. And then there is méchant, T. You don't say the T. But of course, there are exceptions. And here are the 2 main exceptions that you have to remember. When you say son, fils, you have to say the S. And then there is this little tricky word, plus. Sometimes, plus, you don't say it, you don't say the S. But when you say when you say the word plus, as more, you mean more, you have to say it, plus. So when there is the S, it means more. When there is not this S, like when you say just plus, but it's the same writing, you don't, it means less. So this is a kind of tricky word. And then there is this combination with S. S is often the mark of the plural, but sometimes it's not, and you also don't have to pronunciate when you add it after P, T, or D. So here are some examples. Temps, which means time. Debout, which is the plural form for pieces. Debout, you add the S because of the plural, and you don't say T or S. And then there is D, tu prends, which is you take. And always when you conjugate verbs, you often have D and S, and you don't say it. So these are the main letters that are silent. STPD, French is stupid. Then you've got some letters that are sometimes silent, sometimes they are not. So you just have to remember which words are like that. Those letters are B, C, F, G, J, L, Z. So here are some examples, like maybe the main ones. Just try to remember them, and then only experience will help you to know which word are not silent. Plomb, which means plumb, you don't say the B. Like the B is quite rare. Usually you don't have words with B at the end of the word. Then you have porc, which means pork or pig. There is the C, and you don't say it, porc. Then this adjective, gentil, with the L, you don't say it, but usually words that ends with an L, you have to say it. So this one is really a big exception, gentil. Clé et serre, key and dear. There is an F, but you don't say it. But many words, you have to say the F. So remember that. Then for J, long, it means long. So in English, you have to say the G. In French, you don't say it. And then this one, Z, you often not say it in French, but sometimes you have to say it. Here, you don't say it. Chez, which means like, I'm going to my place. I'm going to your place. To, translation for to. Né, which means nose. Riz, for rice. And assez, for enough. So here are some examples that you have to remember. So far we've seen 5 different patterns. H or X if you see H alone, or in ER only in verbs, and in the adjective premier, and X in those 3 patterns, wa, o, e. You have to be silent. You don't say those letters. So this is the 3 letters that are important for you to remember. And then there is S, T, P, and D, which is almost always silent. So this is the main one that you have to remember in addition to those ones. S, T, P, and D. French is stupid. And then you've got those letters that are more tricky. B, C, F, J, L, Z. And you have to remember some examples. And if you really have to remember one category, I think you should really remember with the D, because there are many words with these exceptions. Let's move on to the training part. Here are some sentences. I'm going to read them, and you will see which letters are not or silent. Try by yourself before I'm going to say it. So here is the first one. Did you try? Okay, the answer is ils ne sont pas assez grands. Ils ne sont pas assez grands. So here, there is this S that is silent, and there is this T, and this S is not silent due to the liaison, which is introduced by this vowel A. In the next lesson, I'm going to deal with the French liaison, so don't worry about that. For now, it's only common silent letters. So you have to say it here, but usually it's silent, so don't worry for that. And then there is the Z and the D and S that are silent. Ils ne sont pas assez grands, which means they are not big enough. Ils ne sont pas assez grands. Let's move on to the next one. Did you try? Okay. The answer is je suis heureux d'être amoureux. Je suis heureux d'être amoureux. So here, again, there is a liaison because H is silent and here there is a vowel, but don't worry about that. Here, X and X, you don't have to say it. Je suis heureux d'être amoureux. It means I'm happy to be in love. I'm happy to be in love. Je suis heureux d'être amoureux. Next one, this one, is a bit longer. Try by yourself. The answer is les chevaux courent plus vite que les bœufs. Les chevaux courent plus vite que les bœufs. Les chevaux courent plus vite que les bœufs. Here, there is an S. You don't say it. Here, there is an X. You don't say it. The T here, the S here. Even though it means more, you don't say it. Because here, there is an adjective after that, and when you say plus with an adjective, plus with an adjective, if there is no vowel, you don't say it. So here, plus vite. This S, and then B. You don't say the F and you don't say the S. But please be careful. When there is no S at the end of B, you have to say the F, bœuf. But here, you don't say it. This sentence means the horses run faster than the cows, which is in French, les chevaux courent plus vite que les bœufs. Then there is this sentence. Try by yourself. The answer is mes cheveux sont trop longs. Mes cheveux sont trop longs. It means my hair are too long. And here, all the words have a silent letters. Mes cheveux sont trop longs. Mes cheveux sont trop longs. And this one now, try by yourself. J'ai pris plus de temps que prévu. J'ai pris plus de temps que prévu. So here there is this silent S, but here you have to say it. J'ai pris plus de temps, more time. So you have to say it. It's different, even though here it's more, but it's with an adjective. Here it's plus alone. So you have to say it because it means more. Then there is temps, P and S, you don't say it, and this is fine. J'ai pris plus de temps que prévu. I took more time than expected. J'ai pris plus de temps que prévu. Then the last one, try by yourself. This one is a little bit tricky. So the answer is, à l'est du parc, il y a des noix qui ont poussé. À l'est du parc, il y a des noix qui ont poussé. So here you can see that I have to say est because it's not the verb to be. It's not the verb être. It's east. So in French you have to say S and T here. So à l'est. À l'est du parc. Here again there is a C, but you have to say it. This is not one of the words I wanted you to remember. So parc, you have to say it. Il y a des, you don't say it. Noix, here again there is the pattern OIX, so you don't say it. Qui ont, here there is this silent T. And then, pousser. À l'est du parc, il y a des noix qui ont poussé. At the eastern part of the park, some nuts started to grow. À l'est du parc, il y a des noix qui ont poussé. So did you try and did you manage to do it? It's okay if you don't have a perfect score. Just it's practice. You need to learn, and it's normal to fail. So you can watch this video again and try the sentences again and remember all those patterns. Next lesson, I will introduce you to the French liaison. But for now, it's only silent letters. That's all for today. If you like the video, please leave a comment on the sections below, or you can hit the like button or share this video with your friends. If you haven't subscribed yet, you can do it. The button is down below. And if you want some more resources on learning French, go to our website, frenchpod101.com. You will see many French lessons, and I hope to see you again for more French lessons. Bye, guys.